Thank you, everybody, for attending today. We've got a really exciting session for you. We're going to do something that's unique, something that is very rarely done in a live format. Before we get started, though, I'd like to introduce our CEO, Pat Gelsinger, to say a few words about the innovate and collaborate approach that we've been using to build this demo and our commitment to our service provider customers. So, Pat?
Thank you, Phil. And at its core, VMware is this disruptive, innovative company. What we love to do is things that just change the status quo in fundamental and radical ways, and we do that through innovation. But secondly, we're very much committed to a broad ecosystem. And so today we're going to demonstrate that ecosystem partnership that, it's not just about what we do at the platform level, it's also about how we then engage with our partners, and you're going to see that demonstrated. But ultimately, it's about then delivering that in a customer environment and making those disruptive innovations relevant, powerful, in the context of our customers.
There should be one right in the green room. Sorry.
Right, in the context of our customers' real use cases. So you're going to see all three elements of that today. Our disruptive innovations, building an NFV platform, right? The partnership that we have and putting an VNF on top of that platform, and then finally with Ooredoo, putting it in a real customer context. So literally the things that we're going to do today would take months or years in the past, and in 10 minutes you're going to see an entire network complete with a VoLTE service up and running on it. So I think it's a really exciting demonstration of all pieces of what VMware stands for coming together today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Phil, and he's going to show you the show.
Outstanding. Thank you, Pat. Okay, so
Thanks, Pat.
a lot of commentary out there today about whether or not NFV is ready for production deployment. And I think if you read a lot of the commentary, you might actually get a level of disappointment with respect to the current progress. And I think what's really important, though, is that there's consensus in the industry today that NFV is absolutely essential for service providers to help them achieve their business outcomes, and as well, help them do things like manage technology evolution, making sure that their platforms and technologies are keeping up with the services that they want to deliver. The reality is actually that we're deploying quite widely NFV successfully. We've got over 45 deployments in service providers today, delivering mobility services to more than 80 million subscribers globally. So our platform today is out there broadly deployed. It's a very proven platform, and definitely one of the lowest risk solutions in the market today for NFV. So when you look at the commentary, it tends to be a bit negative, but the reality is that NFV is widely deployed, specifically on VMware, and we're doing very well helping our service providers achieve their business outcomes in those deployments. It hasn't been easy, though. I think over time, VMware has managed to leverage a mature platform and the right technology choices, investments, to help get us there. And so service providers today are struggling with things like operations with NFV. They're struggling with things like fast time to deployment, time to revenue. These are very complex problems to solve for a service provider. And so what we're trying to do with our platform is really drive towards mainstreaming NFV. And we're actually quite a way there. And I think if you look at where the industry's at today with respect to small science projects, and then compare those to our deployments, which tend to be more broad scale, have the technologies innovation technology advantages versus our competition, we're actually doing things today that are much more mainstream than other solutions out in the market today. We've moved from science project to production deployment. VMware, by the way, is OpenStack. I think you saw there was a lot of negative comments about OpenStack, but the reality is VMware is OpenStack. We have our own distribution. It's feature rich. It can be deployed within a matter of minutes, not months or years in some cases. And then as well, it builds on the rich features and capabilities within our platform to deliver solutions that are very much in line with the OpenStack deployments out there in the market today. In fact, in many cases, we actually have a more rich feature set than what's available with OpenStack today in the market via a third-party distribution. So VMware Integrated OpenStack is a wonderful solution for service providers who are looking to deploy OpenStack broadstream. It's hardened and tested, And it's supported by a single vendor model, which is VMware, supporting top to bottom stack and everything in between. So VROps, you're using that as well as NSX, and also OpenStack. One of the differentiating advantages of our platform is that we offer a choice of VIMs. And what that means, virtual infrastructure managers, and what that means is that you have the ability as a service provider to control your path and evolution. So you can start with vCloud Director SP and move towards deploying OpenStack when the time is right. When OpenStack is mature enough and you want to operationalize around OpenStack, you can control that evolution path. So today, this is a differentiator on our platform, as I mentioned, and to be perfectly honest, we have a lot of service providers building strategies to deploy vCloud Director SP now, and then start to move towards operationalizing towards OpenStack later on down the road for capital conservation, for instance, making sure that their resources are aligned, also for convergence of IT and operator services. Another key success factor, certainly that we've done very well in, is building a very strong ecosystem around our platform. NFVI can be deployed today, from an infrastructure perspective, can be deployed today in service provider environments delivering static services. And what that means is non-orchestrated services. For mobility, this has actually been the choice of mobile services operators. What the mobile services operators are doing today is they're starting with NFVI, with the infrastructure, and then building orchestration on top of that, adding service assurance capabilities to it as time goes on in a path towards evolution. So having a modular platform gives service providers the capability to build their own custom stack. An operations foundation with rich capabilities is really a very critical key component to success. When you look at crossing the chasm, right, moving from science project to production deployment, operations is really that one inhibitor that service providers must solve in order to get there. So vRealize operations and the capabilities, the mature capabilities within the platform, have given us a chance to help service providers manage operations, but also go a little bit further in terms of things like capacity planning, looking at demand, expected demand over time. It's really a platform that, from a maturity perspective, is much broader and much more capable than many of the solutions today that are out there for NFV. So having this platform already within IT and being able to build onto this platform over time has given us an advantage that we're helping our service providers with to help manage operations, which again is one of the most key critical components in delivering services. Continuous innovation and future-proofing is something that's very important to service providers. And so when you think about technology decisions, it's important for a service provider to make a technology decision to implement a platform that they can evolve and not have to forklift or basically remove from the network as they move to new methods of application delivery, right? Containers, for instance. So one of the things that we've been working very hard on is building that pathway towards container-based application delivery. And certainly improving agility, DevOps, bringing IT together with operator services and leveraging some of the key benefits and value points that we've been able to drive within IT, bringing those technologies over to operator services and helping our operators meet their business objectives in terms of lower operating costs and such. So making technology choices is extremely important. Making the right ones is even more important. You've got two ways to go, right? When you look at platforms today, you can go with a mature platform, you can go with a platform that has all the right technologies and capabilities, or you can try and piece things together. And service providers, as I mentioned in one of the first slides, if you look at the crossing the chasm analogy, service providers today talk a lot about performance and the science projects and kind of what's cool about that. But the reality is what they're really looking for is they're looking for something that's stable, that offers solutions, convenience, and maturity, because they're running their business on this. The network is, or the platform is, their business. So it's extremely important for them to make sure that they have a reliable solution in place that has the feature-rich capabilities, the ability to evolve long-term with new application delivery models, and also support OpenStack or operationalize around OpenStack when they need to do that. So making technology decisions up front is extremely important. We've had to do that as a company, and certainly our service providers, it's very important for them as well. So we're leveraging how we're able to make those technology decisions, the innovations that we're building to help them make better technology decisions. Okay, so why am I queuing all this up? because we have a customer, Oridu, who we've been working very closely with. And to them, it is about making the right technology decisions and also looking to achieve their business outcomes, very specific business outcomes. So Oridu Unify is a project that Oridu is I would say, is probably, I don't know, maybe a year along with in terms of planning. It's their strategic transformation project to take them from where they're at today towards an architecture and methodologies and processes to help them achieve their forward-looking business outcome goals, right? So one of those is improving business agility. So being able to move operational processes, be able to move infrastructure resources, for instance, reconfigure services and deploy services faster. The next one is radically reducing deployment time. So being able to deliver a service in market in a matter of days, right? As well, 50% cost reduction is something that they've targeted with respect to ongoing operations and as well for CapEx. So decreasing the cost of deployment, but also the operating cost by 50%. Faster innovation. They want to innovate faster. They want to drive new innovations to market faster. They feel this is a competitive differentiator for them. And then again, being able to deliver any service anywhere in 7 days. So the components that they're focused on to help them achieve these goals are really the common platform. Having one single platform that scales in a multi-domain and multi-vendor environment, right? So this common platform today is different than the siloed architectures that we've seen in the past, where you have one virtual network function virtualized in a single silo. The common platform approach actually takes all of those VNFs, puts them on a single platform, and leverages the resources within that platform for those VNFs. So you reach greater economies, certainly in costs from a CapEx perspective, but also it's much easier to manage. So common platform is a key tenet. Design once, deploy many times. This is something that's extremely important to them as well. They don't want to re-engineer every single deployment. So they want to design something once, go ahead and deploy it many times. And simplify systems and domains. So they want to take the systems that exist today and simplify them. Looking at domains and the infrastructure within the domains, they want to simplify the infrastructure as well that exists in the domains. The architectures, how things come together. Fewer components, much easier to manage. And then end-to-end orchestration, which is extremely important to them and will help them evolve over time. So Velocity is a project that a small team of folks came together on. It was in collaboration with Athomnet, who's our partner providing virtual EPC and virtual IMS, VNFs. And Velocity was really about, and also as well, VMware and Oridu, so it was a joint collaboration. And it's really about doing some of those things that we just looked at with their unified strategy, right? Achieving some of those goals. Specifically, the reliable model-driven approach, right? So we want to deploy many times on a single model. Standardized packaging and deployment. They want to standardize on the VNFs that they're delivering to market and how they're delivering them to market. Automated service deployment is something that's extremely important for them as well. They want to automate everything in the network so that they can use less operational resources in provisioning new services or changing or modifying new services as well. Autonomic resource management. The network needs to be intelligent. The resources need to be intelligent. They need to scale up, scale down, horizontally as well, and the network itself needs to grow as those resources grow. So autonomic service deployment is extremely important to them to decrease their operational costs and meet that 50% cost reduction goal. As well, they want to build a group blueprint library that all the different opcos can use. So for each of the VNFs that are deployed, they exist in a common library. And the group, each of the opcos can go in within the group and grab one of those blueprints and actually deploy that into service very easily without having to create that many times throughout each of the opcos. So these are the goals of the Velocity project. And the outcome or the product of the Velocity project is what we're going to show you today, which is we are going to take from our stack, basically, and we're going to go from 0 to 150 miles an hour in a matter of minutes. And what I mean by that is we're going to deploy a full VoLTE service today from the ground up. We have the VNFs packaged, but they're not deployed onto our platform. We're going to model them, we're going to blueprint them, we're going to deploy them, and then we're going to make a live call here at the event. And if we have time, we'll even try and make a call externally and see if we can get that to work. But the goal here is to show the industry how fast really is with respect to deployment. We want to make sure that we're setting the bar with respect to speed to market. It's extremely important for many of our customers And it's important to us, right? Because we want to make sure that our platforms can help them achieve those business goals. And time to revenue is a significant business goal and one that they focus on intensely. So we want to help them achieve that. The Velocity project was really about that time to deployment. How fast can we deliver a new service to market? So what we're going to demonstrate here is an OpCo, for instance, going into a market, deploying our stack, and then deploying the service on top of our stack. So within a matter of probably 10 minutes, we're going to go from no VNFs deployed on our stack to a full VoLTE service making a live call, which is incredible if you think about it. I mean, time to deployment right now for many of the NFV solutions, sometimes it takes days and months. In our case today, we're going to do it in 10 minutes. So with that said, I'd like to introduce Gianluca Vereen, who's the CTO of Athonet, who's going to take us through some of the more technical details of what's configured, what the components are, and then we'll go ahead and perform the demo for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, everyone. Very excited to be here. So, Athonet, we develop VNF. We develop software mobile core since 11 years now. And one of the first deployments that we did actually was in an area science park where hundreds of startups are housed. And we did a private network there. We did the first 3G private network. So we organize everything to have the network running. At a certain point, we go to the IT department and say, can you host our software into this server? And the guys goes, well, can you put in a virtual machine? So that was 2010. We ran the first 3G network on VMware. So happy to be here again and to show you the next level of virtualization. How important is that the software is well conceived and that is very performant, and so that you don't need to have several hundreds of CPU to run the server, but you just can run very efficiently the hardware. And how simplicity is very important as well. So since the first 2010 real deployment, we have done much more. So not only 3G now is supported, but as you can see, the VNFs that we are on show now include the virtual EPC, so the MME, the S gateway, the P gateway, the PCRF, a virtual HSS, and all the virtual IMS, which is PCSCF, ICSCF, SBC, and also the third-party router. What I wanted to give you the perspective of what we're going to show. So this is basically what you're going to see from a telecommunication point of view. So there is a small cell. Oops. I need to do this first. This is a small cell, and the virtual router and virtual HSS is just housed internally into the server. What we will do is we're going to deploy the first virtual EPC and the first virtual IMS. And this will allow them to have the small cell to be powered up. At this point, the VoLTE call will happen. We'll be also able to make an external call or go into the service network. So this is to show how quick is quick. And you will see in the 10 minutes that Phil was talking about, not only the deployment of the first virtual EPC, also the scale out. So this second virtual EPC will appear, and you will also see a virtual IMS appearing. So in this case, the call will traverse the two IMS and be able to talk to each other very quickly. So this is the type of demo that we show. Once again, I want to thank Mikael, who is the senior system engineer at VMware, that has helped us greatly to put everything together. 1 month we did everything. So thank you, Mikael, for the great job.
Thank you, Gianluca. Thank you. Okay, so let's see what we can get going from here. So what we're looking at the moment is where we have modeled and blueprinted the whole solution. So what we've done, we have also decoupled the hardware through the virtualization, and we've taken that a step further. So we have decoupled the applications, the software provided by Arthonet from the operating system as well. So we're not using any type of images or anything like that. We're using it as a native application. So let's look at what that means. And we will go into our blueprint. So in here we have taken operating system, so infrastructure as a service that is provided by the cloud. We modify the characteristics of the server. So we're adding networks that needs to be connected automatically as well, and we connect them to the network. We have also made this application scalable. So we enable it to scale out and in as we like, depending on traffic. Then we have modeled the application in itself and created a lot of different type of properties that gets fed in automatically into the application when we configure and power it on. So let's see if we can deploy this now. So we're going to put it in production. We'll make sure that we map all the components to the infrastructure and to the networks. So in here again, we specify what type of operating system we're going to use and how we connect the different networks. And we can see the order of how everything is going to be deployed. And then we get going. So now we have actually started the deployment of our mobile core. So we can see now that we have the two nodes coming up. So we've got the EPC and the IMS being deployed. Oops. And here they are. So the infrastructure is on its way up. We're booting up the servers. And they should be having their IP addresses configured as well in a minute. There they are. They're now running, so we have an operating system up and running, and we're now starting the deployment of the applications in itself. So here we've got all its IP addresses, all the network configurations mapped as well. So here they are. So where are we now? Should we start deploying the application as well? A few minutes. So we're still finalizing the customization of the operating system from a normal standard operating system. We do some modification, tuning, etc. in the operating system, and now in a short while we should have the application rolling on to it as well. Four minutes can be long when you wait for it. Let's see. They're up. Looks nice. Oh, there we are. So now we see the application starting. So the IMS node is now being deployed. So we're shipping all the software components onto the server. We have generated automatically a configuration file that has collected all the information directly from the infrastructure. So we're picking IP addresses and all the information needed to actually configure the IMS application. We're putting that into the configuration and then booting up IMS as well, which should be done in a small minute. There it is. So the IMS is now deployed. We're deploying the virtual EPC on top of that as well. So again, we're collecting now information that was provided when we booted up the IMS. It had some characteristics that was not known before we started the provisioning, but we inherited that automatically in the blueprint and feed that into the EPC as well, so that we have that relationship between the two components. We have also specified how to get access into the HSS, how to get access to the network as well. So all that is dynamically done in the blueprint, and we're done with the deployment. So what's happening now in the background is that these are now contacting the HSS and register themselves in the HSS. So we should be almost up and running for a call, I think. So we would like to ask if we have a couple of volunteers in the audience. Any volunteers?
No volunteers. All right, we have one.
One more
And
over
two.
here.
All right.
So let's see if we can make a call.
So just to give everybody an idea of how broadly this will be used across Ooredoo's opcos. They're going to deploy this across 10 opcos. This is going to speed up time to deployment for them, literally by, they're going to cut their deployment time by 90% or so, based on what they're doing today. So
if you want, we can.
Can you guys hear each other?
We can.
Anyone else want to test?
Yeah.
Shaker?
So while you make some calls, I can see now that it's time to scale this. So because we're starting to receive a lot of traffic now on the network, so we need to scale. So let's do that. Let's go and scale out. And we're going to increase the EPC with one node, and we will add one more IMS node as well. And we're ready to go. So let's go back in here and see what happens. And there they are. So we've got the 2 extra nodes coming up. And that'll take approximately the same time as the first deployment, because we're now scaling out with 2 extra components, so 2 different nodes, and they will soon be getting all their networks configured, etc. So the same way as we did previously. And here they are. And this will take a while. So anything? Yeah.
Yeah, you want to try and make an external call?
Why not? While we're waiting for scale out.
Yes.
All right.
Shall we try?
So
Let's
we
see if
didn't
we
get any
can call
volunteers the
externally.
first time. Let's see if we can get some volunteers this time. This is going to be a little more tricky. We don't want you to yell your mobile phone number out, obviously. But anybody out there who'd like to volunteer to put their mobile number in one of these phones, and they'll go ahead. Okay, great, outstanding, thank you. So again, just to reiterate a point, so Ooredoo is going to deploy this across 10 opcos. It's going to decrease deployment time significantly from what they're doing today. And this is one of the first of many, actually, applications that we're going to start packaging into vApps. And again, from a cost perspective, the business outcome that they're looking to achieve is reducing their deployment cost. Ah, there we go. All right. That's outstanding. So what we've done is we've managed to make a VoLTE internal call here within the Mobile World Congress event.
Yeah.
And then we've also gone out and leveraged the external network, PSTN, to make a call to somebody on their own private phone within the event. So we've done both internal and external today. And looking at my watch, it's under 10 minutes. So absolutely outstanding. Great job, Mikhail.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so any questions at this point about how we did it? What types of components we were using with respect to handsets? Any questions? No questions. Is everybody pretty excited to see this? Was this a phenomenal demo? I'm getting a lot of head shaking. Okay, outstanding. All right, so with that, I just want to thank the team. If there's no other questions, I just want to thank the team here, the Athonet team. Certainly a big shout out to Oridu for all their help and really initiating this demo for us and allowing us to come in and help them solve some of their business challenges. Thank the Athonet team, the VMware team. What's really incredible about this whole thing, in the back end, this was done in less than 4 weeks, from initial design to deployment of our stack, to all the packaging, and then dropping it on the platform, and then, as you can see, deploying it within 10 minutes. So incredible time to get this done, and a big round of applause for the whole team that helped do this.
Yeah, thank you, Phil.
And with that, thank you everybody for attending. Hopefully this was a great session, and if you do have questions, we'll be around afterwards to answer them.